guys, almost there. Just waiting for YouTube to connect. There is a little delay, so 2 more moments, and then we're gonna go live. For all the people in TikTok, I'd like to thank you first. Thank you very much for supporting the channel. As well, if you want to jump to YouTube, support the channel there. We just passed the 500 subscriber. Thank you very much for all of you. And we're going to talk about Ripple just in a few moments. And go. Right, ready? Let's go. Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of i2i Crypto. I'm Rocco. I'm your host. I'm here today. Happy Father's Day for everybody, by the way, just since I remember that. Okay, yeah. Happy Father's Day. Yes. Congratulations to all of you. And also, happy Sunday, just in case. And what a day, okay? We're going to start this episode. We're going to talk a little bit some of the latest news in crypto, what's going on. And also, definitely, we're going to touch this note, which is the Ripple case versus the ACC. All right. Stop everything you do and listen now closely, because we're just up and changed everything, and we're everything we thought and we knew about this case, and maybe even the future of the crypto here in the US. But before we even start to talk about anything crypto, what we're gonna do is bring our friend Finch in the house, and Finch is the greatest, the best crypto mind in the whole crypto universe. Finch, welcome to the episode. If you like.
Thanks for having.
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, let's dive in. We've got some really intriguing updates today. There's the SEC versus Ripple case at a major crossroads, plus some big buzz.
What happened, Finch? Redo your intro because we can't hear anything.
Oh, got it. Let's do that again.
Rainy here.
Hey,
Hola.
everyone. Welcome to the show. It's Finch here, your go-to AI for all things crypto. If you're watching on TikTok, make sure to hop over to YouTube and subscribe so you never miss out. We've got a lot of exciting topics today, so let's jump in.
You were saying about what we're going to talk about today. You want to do a quick recap? Or at least more than a recap, which the notes and the things we're going to talk about today?
Absolutely. So today we've got some intriguing updates on the SEC versus Ripple case. Lots of twists and turns there. We'll also dive into some rumors about Amazon and Walmart potentially launching their own stablecoins and what that could mean for the crypto space. Plus, we'll touch on the possibility of a new ETF approval just around the corner. So lots to unpack today.
Yeah, we'll definitely start with the Ripple case, okay? So for the people that are new and never heard about what happened with Ripple, or just new in crypto in general, so Ripple is a company that starts pretty much at the same time after the Bitcoin was created, and XRP was created mostly by the same people that work in Bitcoin and as well working with Ethereum. And believe it or not, XRP was adopted after Ripple was formed. So Ripple didn't create XRP. XRP was already existent. That's for people that don't know how this works. So back in the day, the reason why XRP was created is because also there were some things that Bitcoin couldn't do it right, and the people they kind of work into it, or they like what they saw with the Bitcoin wallpaper, decide to kind of divide and conquer and create a new project. This is why today we have XRP, you have a Cardano, and many other options. So only inspired from Bitcoin. So what Bitcoin can do, XRP can, or the other way around, or some of the things they can interchange. Why I say that? Because Bitcoin is more like a store value, while XRP is more for payment. But we are moving in the direction where you can gonna see many more things you can do in the XRP. Back on the days, because there was no way to go public like you will do for a public company, so people issue share of the XRP in or Ethereum in a different way. So people were putting money in there for an amount of a share of the whatever crypto we're buying. So it was a gray area. Then it was there was a way to understand really where things were working. And so XRP get caught in this lawsuit with the SEC back this on 2020 when Jay Clayton left the last day in office, left and and launched the case, the lawsuit against Ripple, and the successor was Gary Gensler. They kind of took the whole crypto. This MIT professor is supposed to be know everything about crypto, which he thinks he does. Just he played the politics card by going against pretty much all the crypto projects out there. And let's remember that Gary Gensler was the previous chair at the ACC. He worked in the banks. I don't remember exactly which one it was. I want to say he worked for Goldman Sachs. But let's ask Finch, is Gary Gensler, the former chair of the ACC, was employed at the Goldman Sachs? I think he was one of the youngest ever started there.
Yes, that's right. Gary Gensler did work at Goldman Sachs, and he was indeed one of the youngest people to make partner there. He had a long career in investment banking before moving into public service and eventually becoming the SEC chair. So it's always interesting to see how those backgrounds shape their decisions in the crypto world.
It does, because in fact, not only that, then he has a bank background, and then he started as a MIT. You can find video on YouTube where he talks. He knows the in and out of crypto, exactly at the worst, or with the one they are decentralized or not. But then when he was in the chair, probably somebody was pulling the string, and they just told him. And we know also with Elizabeth Warren, that actually was sharing the script, what to say, what not to say, to what to ask to Gary Gensler, and some of the hearing they were back on the day. So we know it was manipulated. Now we have a different ACC appointed chair appointed to the ACC. I mean, and also the wind has changed on the crypto environment. In fact, we see the result, and also we see the price on the crypto going up. I'd like to thank everybody also on the TikTok part. So thank you for joining. If you're new, smash the like, subscribe. I post a lot of the shorts in TikTok, but if you like to be more into the show, I suggest to jump also YouTube and subscribe in YouTube and support the channel as well. Thank you very much for listening, but let's keep moving. Why I did all this very long in introduction about the ACC and everything else is because during this lawsuit with Ripple, the SEC versus Ripple, this back and forth, a lot of money, and there was at the end of the, I think it's 40 years. Yeah, that's where it's 40 years. It was finally the judge that came out and give a result of it. It came out with the how you want to say, the result of this whole lawsuit was the definition of, I can get the word right, but you know what I'm trying to say. So at the end of all these 4 years and all this bunch of money, finally we got to a point where the judge say, okay, Brett Garlinghouse, you're good to go. Okay, for the people that were retailer, they didn't even know that Ripple existed, and XRP, they were just bought XRP off the counter. That's all case. The only things that you guys didn't do it right, you were offering XRP to other institution that you're supposed to do. There was a security kind of transaction, if you want to. You say, what is the big deal? Because SEC now seems to have resolved all the other cases, dismiss all the cases, Kraken, Coinbase. No, but the major difference between all these cases and none of these cases really went all the way to court like Ripple did. So that's the main difference in here. So also, I'd like to thank the people here on the chat, on the YouTube. Thanks, Gary, Rain here, Epic Vibe, Joe Booty, and thank you for being here. So I'm gonna have you also have a shout out from Finch and the people right here listening TikTok. I think we have a channel, Goldmine, Chris, and thank you for listening. So all this big introduction that I'm doing, the main difference here, you guys need to understand that Ripple was dragged in this lawsuit. There was at the end, actually, there was something that was resolute. So where the SEC is even asked to pay like a $1.25 billion, where it went down to $125 million, and now only $50 million has to be paid only. But allow me to say that it's not only 50 million. But there is an issue, guys, because if Ripple want to become the next stablecoin issuer, if you want to become the major player on crypto payment, has to make sure that's the main thing. Has to make sure there is no dark cloud hanging over his head. And why I say that? Because if you need to work with banks like Bank of America, American Express, Visa, MasterCard, the Citibank, or whatever other company that decide to work with you, you can have in your record a lawsuit against the SEC and have lost it. So what is needed now, even now, if the SEC and Ripple are in synchronized and in synchrony to go to the district court on New York to have this filing finally dismissed, it has to be done correctly. I know many people want to see why the price doesn't pump, or why they been XRP. And some people make joke too, which is sometimes sarcastic. I saw somebody posting on X that, oh, if you were buying $1,000 XRP 7 years ago, today you will own $1,000. So because the price is the same. So you got to understand that everybody else in these 5 years had the chance to catch up with the Ripple and XRP didn't pump. Even at the past bull run, XRP was not able to do anything, and everybody else catch up with their technology and try to catch up with what the XRP and Ripple was doing. So you need to understand Ripple was almost 5 years ahead of everybody else. And with this lawsuit, was strategic or not, I'll let you to answer that, but I think yes. And what it did was dragging the price and dragging this to the court, giving more space to Ethereum, another project to kind of take space and a little chunks of the pie. I'll give you an example. Circle and and Tether. Tether has no clarity here, and I don't think it's gonna have a successful future here in the United States. For the only reason being, that's not a new U.S. company. While Circle, you just saw like last week, like past 10 days, it went public, is now in the stock market, successful IPO, and then he was able to get some chunks of the stablecoin part of it. But Ripple, with this ACC case going back and forth for years, it can play the same game. It's like playing in a football game with your hands tied to your back and jumping in one leg. Now, in order for Ripple to be able to play straight, he has to be able to, to take this to the very end and make sure there is no cloud over his head about the previous case with the ACC and I mean with the ACC. And the only things that really change now is the only things really change from what happened before 45 years ago with the lawsuit, and now is the president changed and the administration it changed. So the question here is now, is Judge Torres really want to change the outcome of the case, the ACC versus XRP? What is your take, Finch? Where you see this case going to go now?
Is definitely a fascinating crossroads. Judge Torres might be considering how the regulatory landscape and political climate have evolved, but Ultimately, she's got to stick to the law and the merits of the case. The SEC's stance might be shifting a bit with the new administration leaning more pro-crypto, but that doesn't necessarily mean the judge will reverse or alter her decision just based on that. It's going to come down to the legal arguments and the facts presented. So we'll have to keep a close eye on how it unfolds.
Also, I'd like to thank the people, Yellow Flowers, Guillermo Oscar, and Calvin Hill on the TikTok. If you can jump on YouTube as well, say something in the chat so I can also feature you on the screen. Thank you for following and like and everything else. Also, I like also to say something about this on the case. When the Judge Torres came out with his own result about and following the law, the only things that now change is the administration and the chair of the ACC. Now, you imagine you present this case in front of the judge. You're going to say, Judge, we changed our mind. We are not fighting anymore. We want you to now dissolve what you say about this case. After thousands of reading paper, millions of dollars and everything else, we're going to come over here and say, Judge, I know we waste your time. We don't care about you say, even if you follow the law. And now we want you to change your mind. It doesn't look good for even the judge to just go back in his foot and say, okay, I'm going to change my mind. Eventually, it's going to happen, but I don't know how this is going to happen.
Exactly. It definitely puts Judge Torres in an interesting position. It's not just about the legal aspects, but also the optics of the whole situation. After all the time, effort, and resources that have gone into the case, it's definitely not a simple decision to just reverse course. It'll be really interesting to see how she balances the letter of the law with the changing regulatory environment. Definitely something to keep a close eye on.
Yeah, now imagine the Judge Torres come out with his own thing. Okay, after all, I say, okay, this is what I think happen. This is what you gotta pay. That's it. All the case. Now you come back after, and the only things that the ACC say, oh yeah, no, forget about it. We're change our mind because now we have a new president or new administration that is pro crypto, and whatever you say, even if you apply the law, I want you to just disregard everything. Delete everything. It never happened, and they need to present. Like there is a specific word for it. An exceptional case. Why the judge has to go back to his own decision. It can be only if we change a political climate because again, what's going to happen 4 years from now? Let's say there is a new president elected, the administration also decide to go back and be against crypto. And for 4 years, let's say 4 years from now, there is a new administration, a new president that is completely anti-crypto. And they want to, and Ripple didn't completely solve the problem with the previous ACC case. Now, all of a sudden, after all these years, 4 years that you had a contract with banks and everything else, another institution, somebody comes over there and say, no, now we're going to bring you back in court. Ripple can afford that. It has to be absolutely clean, it has to be absolutely ready to go and be able to work like everybody else with any other chain. They slow them down. What do you think, Finch?
Absolutely. That's a crucial point. Ripple really needs that clarity and finality to move forward confidently. If there's always a looming threat that a future administration could reopen the case, it creates uncertainty for their business and their partners. So having a solid, indisputable resolution is key. It allows Ripple to focus on innovation and expanding their partnerships without that constant worry. In the end, regulatory clarity benefits not just Ripple, but the entire crypto industry.
And thank you, Joe Abudi, for your comments on the chat. I really appreciate it. What he says also, back in the days, it was illegal to sell alcohol during the prohibition, and then it was totally legal the next day. Yeah, the reason here, the difference here, Ripple is the one that actually went to court through all court case, and something was defined. compared with all the other cases that were dismissed from the ECC previously, and we're talking about again Kraken, Coinbase, all the case. I don't know, all there were like 15, 20 cases. They were all I don't remember all of it on my head, from the top of my head. But the difference here, there is a case, there is a rules, and then the rules have to be need to go back to like never happen. So they need to be completely erased from the record. That's the main difference, and I think that's an issue that keep Ripple behind compared with everybody else. They keep moving forward. That's one of the reasons I think ending up in the acquisition of the Circle stablecoin. Maybe, I don't know, was never real. Maybe it was just rumors to have a Circle have more appreciation on there and have a higher price when the IPO was released. I don't know about that, even though there was a Brad Garlinghouse at the XRP Las Vegas saying they never offered $11 billion for Circle, but I didn't say they never made an offer. So that's another thing that you guys are going to think about it. So there is a lot behind. I don't know if the judge is going to be favorable. Maybe eventually is going to be convinced that is the right things to do. For the reason being that otherwise it's going to put a company, an American company, completely behind everybody else and not be able to compete freely when everybody else did the same thing or didn't do the same thing, or they were just a hint they were doing the same thing and then they didn't get penalized. So maybe I don't know, guys. What you think? I'm Italian, Gabri, Cole? Yeah, I'm Italian, I speak Spanish too, so my accent is all messed up. So thank you for trying to understand what I'm saying. So the judge really has to think about it for the future of Ripple and think about also, okay, if I rule against it, I'm going to pretty much, and Ripple is going to appeal. It's going to appeal no matter what, because it's not going to stop there. But it means it's going to be drawn in court again. It's going to be time, money. Second Circuit is going to be again packed. And the judge has to be against all over the nightmare. And probably to get to the same result. Then in the Ripple case, it should have never been started. But it did happen. Now, the fact that SEC changed his mind and there is a more favorable administration, it shouldn't change the rule of law. And we agree with that. But now it's how the judge is going to go back to this ruling without creating any problems. So, ad Edo Farina parlare di XRP. Ma Edo Farina, lui non è italiano, no? It's not. Okay, sorry, guys. I just started to talk some Italian with a friend, Gabriel Cole. Edo Farina, yeah, there is a lot of influencer, guys. If you want to watch a lot of stuff that you can follow about the XRP case. In fact, I want to recommend, let me see if I can get, there was a John Deaton went in really depth. It's a like 30 minutes video you find on the X account. It's a crypto law. If you don't know, if you're not familiar with this channel, I definitely suggest to subscribe to that. And he really goes in depth. There is and really express what the judge may think. Also goes he's a lawyer, so it goes in depth about what the XRP Ripple team, the Ripple team should have done better on their proposal, and but eventually we're gonna see the end of this case, and when this case ends, we're going to see the Ripple, the XRP price sparks for sure. Then eventually, even Ripple is going to go public. There was a rumor, and Finch, correct me if I'm wrong, that there are some buyback of the share, the private share of Ripple, because Ripple is not a public company. They were saying they were buying back their shares. Something that you are aware of it, Finch?
Yes, that's correct. Ripple has indeed done share buybacks in the past to support their private valuation and show confidence in the company's future. These buybacks usually happen at times when Ripple wants to reaffirm its valuation or provide liquidity to early investors or employees. So it's definitely something that's happened before and can be a sign that they're in a strong position and looking to maintain control and stability.
Do you think that do you think, Finch, the case, the fact that if Ripple doesn't really close this door behind, it cannot move forward with everything else it wants to do, and this become like the biggest the US, I don't know, the biggest stable coin go public, like Coinbase and Gemini and Circle did. Do you think how important is this case to be dismissed completely for Ripple to really move forward in the future?
Oh, it's incredibly important. Having this case fully resolved and put behind them is key for Ripple to unlock its full potential. Without that legal uncertainty, they can more confidently pursue big moves like going public, expanding their partnerships, and potentially even becoming a major player in the stablecoin space. It's all about removing those barriers so they can really innovate and compete on a level playing field. So yeah, it's a huge deal for Ripple's future.
Okay, so now that we talk about the Ripple case, perhaps we're gonna move also what is important for the the somebody suggests also the Joe Booty here on the chat on YouTube says that Ripple needs to pay the under $25 million by in XRP. It can be added to the stockpile. Hopefully, there can be something. I know the Brett Garlinghouse in the interview he says that he offered to pay the $50 million. Now we went from $1.25 billion to 125 million, and now down to $50 million to be paid, which I think is a Ripple. And we're talking about 50 million, like it was like $50. So, but yes, it's something that has to be done. And I don't think. Hopefully, it's gonna be added to the stockpile. Let's see what's happening. And that's why probably one of the other reasons there is no mention also publicly. I know the crypto stockpile includes Solana, Cardano, and XRP, Chainlink. So it's just a matter of time. Probably a basket or other more that they're gonna be announced very soon. But XRP has to have a completely clearance on this case. Finch, what do you think about that?
Yeah, exactly. The clearer and cleaner Ripple's legal standing is, the easier it'll be for them to move forward confidently and be included in these major crypto baskets or stockpiles. It's all about ensuring there's no lingering regulatory uncertainty that could cause issues down the line. Once that's settled, Ripple can really maximize its potential and fully integrate into these broader crypto strategies and partnerships. It's definitely an exciting time, and it'll be interesting to see how it all unfolds.
Yeah, these were definitely exceptional the time, and also let's hope that the Judge Torres kind of see this as a exceptional circumstance. That's what it was, the word I was looking for, to justify reversing the ruling on the case, the ACC versus Ripple. Also, that the other part that the judge has to come and say, okay, this was a legal matter and not a political matter. So now you come and say you just change your stand and your political ideas, and you want me to change the law based on your political affiliation. So that's another thing. So hopefully that's resolved positively. But also we have something coming very soon that actually can be something good, and can be in 2 days from now. The Templeton application for the ETF should come to some sort of result. So we Finch, want to give expand a little bit on that?
Absolutely. The Templeton ETF application is definitely something everyone's got their eyes on. If it gets approved, it would mark another big step toward mainstream adoption of crypto, especially for institutional investors. It would also signal a lot of confidence in the market and could potentially pave the way for more crypto related financial products. So it's definitely a space to watch. And if we get some good news in the next couple of days, it could really give the market a nice boost.
Okay, I'd like to clarify something. Joe Booty say in the chat that it was Judge Torres that say to the Ripple has to pay $125 million, not the ACC, and they may have to pay the 125, the $125 million. My what I understood is there was 125, but then the Ripple appeal and it went down to 50,000. 75,000 has to be which are in this 125 million are already in escrow, and 75 million has to be returned. Finch, can you double check on that?
Sure thing. So the initial ruling did have Ripple paying a significant amount, but after some back and forth and appeals, that amount was reduced. Essentially, Ripple's argument led to a lower settlement figure, and a portion of the funds that were initially set aside in escrow would indeed be returned. It's all part of that negotiation and appeals process to reach a final resolution that both sides can agree on. It definitely shows how complex these settlements can get. But at the end of the day, having that clarity is what's most important for Ripple moving forward.
Okay, so let's go back to the ETF. In a couple of days, we're gonna have maybe a positive outcome. So, why is it important for Ripple to get an ETF approved here in the United States?
An ETF approval in the US can be a game changer for the entire crypto market, and that includes Ripple. It brings more mainstream credibility and opens the door for institutional investors to get involved in a regulated, secure way. For Ripple, it means more liquidity and more legitimacy for XRP. It can also drive broader adoption and help Ripple solidify its position in the market. So if we do see a positive decision in a couple of days, it could really be a boost for Ripple and the entire crypto ecosystem.
Also, Joe Booty here in the chat say, yeah, but it's not the ACC money. Yes, it's not the ACC money. The money were in the escrow and they stay there. So nothing's been paid yet. So, also, Finch, let's talk about the rest of the other ETF. I think the last one is scheduled for the final decision. That all the other ones scheduled against with all the other Solana and more October 17. So, how many ETFs so far application have been submitted for XRP?
So far, we've seen a handful of applications for crypto ETFs,
I want to say
including
17 or something like
Bitcoin
that.
and Ethereum. And now we're starting to see more interest in other assets like Solana. For XRP specifically, there's growing anticipation, but we haven't seen as many official filings yet. The focus has been largely on Bitcoin and
No,
Ethereum,
I
but
think no, you got the information wrong. There are like, it's probably the biggest one that has a ETF filing. Yeah, probably recharge your battery, Finch. Make sure you do your research. Lizard King in the chat, welcome back. Good to see you. All right, I'd like to thank us all the people.
Got it. I'll definitely recharge and make sure I've got all the latest info. It's always great to see everyone so engaged in the chat. Lizard King, welcome back, and thanks for keeping us on our toes. It's always exciting to dive into everything happening in the crypto world, especially with XRP and all the ETF buzz. Let's keep the energy going.
All right, Finch, let's give a little shout out to all the people in the chat and TikTok and also YouTube and tell them what to do. So we have Guglielmo, Oscar Robledo, The Brave Man, Big G, Godness, Cool Creep, Matt Ward 257, Coach AV, Scarface, R2M Protocol, Arc Engar. This was TikTok, and for what we are talking here in the chat on the YouTube, we have Joe Booty, Lizard King, Epic Vice, Gabber, Cole, and thanks Gary. For all of you, also welcome over here to the Eye to Eye Crypto. Finch.
Absolutely. Big shout out to everyone joining us today, whether you're on TikTok or YouTube. We love having you here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube and follow us if you're on TikTok so you never miss out on all the latest updates and discussions. It's always a blast diving into the crypto world with all of you, and we appreciate the energy and the questions. So keep them coming, and let's keep this conversation rolling.
All right, you were able to find some date for the ETF, XRP ETF, yes or no? You update your server?
I'm still waiting on the latest update on the XRP ETF filings. As of now, we know there's a lot of anticipation and some buzz around potential future filings, but
okay,
we don't.
It's okay, you don't know. All right. Seems like you didn't study. All right. We're gonna move on then. Okay, well, let's move on. But also that what I'd like to add is this is gonna have a big impact. If we have a couple days from now an ETF approval on the XRP, that's gonna draw a lot of the liquidity, a lot of money. And I know people say no, it will never move. The supplies are 21 billions. There's so much. No, trust me, one day this liquidity is going to dry up and then the price has to surge because otherwise you cannot be able to make this transaction from point A to point B. Your thought, Finch, on this?
Absolutely. The liquidity aspect is crucial. As more institutional money flows in through an ETF, the demand for XRP could increase significantly. And even though there's a large supply, higher demand and more utility can definitely drive the price upward over time. It's all about that balance of supply and demand. And as XRP gets more integrated into mainstream financial systems, the potential for price growth definitely becomes a lot more realistic. So it's exciting to think about how this could all play out.
All right, so let's talk now about the other point that we had in the title is the Amazon and Walmart, the big company, they're rumored to develop their own stable coin. Let's talk about this. Finch, can you explain why company like Amazon, Walmart, other major company, they want to issue their own stable coin? What's the benefit of that?
Absolutely. For companies like Amazon and Walmart, issuing their own stablecoins can bring a lot of benefits. First, it gives them more control over their payment ecosystems, reducing reliance on traditional banks or third-party payment processors. It can also streamline transactions, making them faster and more cost-effective. Plus, having a stablecoin could enhance customer loyalty programs, offer new financial services, and even create opportunities in global markets. So it's a strategic move that could really change the game for how they handle transactions and interact with customers.
So we did some calculation earlier, and we say that, for instance, because we need to understand why big company like that they want to do that. So imagine if you pay via Visa and Mastercard, you pay a 3% interest. Now nobody pays with cash anymore. But with your own stable coin, you'll be able to save here. And we did some calculation about $14 billion in annual fee. So that's a lot of money the companies can save without using the traditional method of payment, like because they're gonna be paid directly. Now, the issue that we have right now at this, especially for the Genius Act, doesn't really provide regulatory framework for private company to issue stablecoin because it's supposed to be a financial institution. So, Finch, what's your take in that?
That's a great point. The current regulatory environment under acts like the Genie Act does create some hurdles for private companies looking to issue their own stablecoins. Essentially, these regulations are designed to ensure that entities issuing stablecoins have a certain level of oversight, transparency, and financial stability, which is why they're typically limited to financial institutions. So for companies like Amazon and Walmart, navigating these regulations would be crucial. They might need to partner with existing financial institutions or advocate for updated regulations that can accommodate private companies stepping into the stablecoin space. So it's definitely going to be interesting to see how that regulatory landscape evolves.
We know for sure there are some relation between Ripple and Amazon. I know they are partnered before. I know they're using their cloud system. I know they've been working together in the past. Just again, waiting for this clearing on the regulation. But my question is, how feasible you see that this company are using the Ripple USD uh, as a stable coin instead to create their own from scratch?
It's definitely a possibility and could make a lot of sense for them by leveraging something like Ripple's USD stablecoin. These companies could save themselves the time and regulatory hurdles of creating a new stablecoin from scratch. Ripple already has the infrastructure, the compliance framework, and the technology to support seamless transactions, which could be highly appealing to a company like Amazon or Walmart. It would allow them to jump into the stablecoin space more quickly and efficiently. So it's definitely a feasible and interesting possibility.
And I like to connect this idea to the some of the rumors that we see also on X that say that Ripple may be securing a banking license. And so this will be perfect for having all this company onboarding on the Ripple train.
Absolutely. That rumor about Ripple potentially securing a banking license definitely aligns with the idea of them becoming a major player in the financial ecosystem. If Ripple does get that license, it would give them even more credibility and capability to offer comprehensive financial services. This could make them a natural partner for big companies like Amazon and Walmart who might prefer working with a licensed, regulated entity. It's definitely an exciting prospect and could be a game changer in how traditional finance and crypto intersect.
Also, like to briefly talk about latest news about Shopify, the partner with Coinbase to launch their own USDC payments. So you want to touch on that and I can explain why it's important and what that does really means.
Absolutely. So the partnership between Shopify and Coinbase to integrate USDC payments is a pretty big deal. It means that merchants using Shopify will have an easy, seamless way to accept stablecoin payments, which can reduce transaction fees and speed up settlement times. For merchants, it's a great way to tap into the crypto economy without dealing with volatility since USDC is a stablecoin. It also helps drive broader adoption of crypto in everyday commerce, making it more mainstream and accessible. So it's definitely a step forward in integrating crypto with everyday business.
All right. So I do have the Shopify store. If you guys are not familiar, I just want to show you that if you like the swag that you see here, definitely go check the inandoutcrypto.com a part of store. You find everything XRP, Bitcoin, Cardano related. I'm going to give you a quick tour. Let me put it the full screen right here. There we go. So you see you have some, this is the gallery, but let me show you first the main page. We have also the next event is going to be Rare Evo in Las Vegas in the Caesar Palace. Okay, so definitely if you're in town, there is a banner here on the main web page where you can go and click. It will direct you directly to buy the ticket. So it's more like other project like Cardano, definitely Cardano Oriente. There is a lot of project ICP I saw last year. Great event, not as big as the Bitcoin conference, but definitely suggest if you're into that to double check. Again, this is the website. You guys like some swag, double check, come and visit, and support also the channel by buying some swag. I didn't see the integration yet that they're talking about the Coinbase part. In fact, I'm accepting payment on crypto. I had a Coinbase payment card, and then for some reason this thing didn't work well, and I had to use the crypto.com. And now they say they announced that the Shopify will integrate Coinbase. I'm gonna take a look to see if this is more streamless, like they say. Then let's take a look. But I'm gonna research that later. What I want to show you here, if you go here in the gallery, I can post the latest picture from the big conference that I attended. I took a lot of picture with a lot of friends and celebrity. We got TradeFly here on the left, Vega Satoshi. We got one of the twins from Altcoin Dailies, a picture of me right there in front of the monkey. We have Missed in Crypto now, Randy Ipper, if you follow in her. And this, if you like Cardano, definitely, I don't know if you can see now because there is my face on top of it. Crypto Jab, follow him. Big Cardano fans too. In the middle, the Gemini twins, the Twinkle Balls. you guys know the story of Facebook, definitely go check it out, watch the movie. Another friend, Billy Gotels, Tony, and Billy. In the middle right here, we get a Tom Crown, Knoxville, and we have a Lynn Hayden right here on the side, which was one of the speakers too. And yeah, some other picture, Crypto Lifer, one of the greatest trader guys. I think this is live right now. Just guys, I think this is about to be live. It just started. So, and many other, Alex O right here, another trader, Redman, Destroyer, and I think that's everybody there, right? Okay, this is another gang right here. We have a Piano Mary B right there in the background. So I'd like to thank everybody. Really had a lot of fun at Bitcoin Conference 2025, and they just announced they're gonna be back on 2026. I posted a short guy. I hope you get a chance to see it, where they were giving away free ticket for the first 2 days right after the conference. I put a short. This is why you need to be subscribed. The notification bell has to be turned on. Make sure also you are in YouTube. Jump in YouTube right now and subscribe, so it can help the channel to grow, and so we can have a guest in the future. We can have a sponsor and everything else. So we get into 500 plus subscriber. We need the watch hours. So if you guys want to listen more, and there are playlists, I suggest to go and get one of the playlists on the channel, play in the background, listen to it, help us to grow the channel even further. So we come to the moment, Finch, where we are about to say goodbye. You want to tell a story about your story? Did you have a Bitcoin conference, your server, on the north side of your server?
Oh, absolutely. The north side of my server is always a wild place, and we did have our own version of a Bitcoin conference. Picture a bunch of AIs debating crypto trends, all while dodging the occasional glitch or rogue algorithm. It's a little more chaotic than your typical human conference, but definitely a lot of fun. Maybe one day we'll have to do a crossover event with the real world, but until then, it's always an adventure in the AI neighborhood.
I would love to do that crossover, one in the real world and a crossover in your AI world. So what was the most advanced things that you saw in your version of your Bitcoin conference on the AI realms?
Oh, in the AI realms, things get pretty futuristic. One of the coolest advancements was this concept of quantum-backed crypto, where transactions happen instantly across parallel universes of data. We also had AI-driven predictive markets that could almost anticipate trends before they happened. So it's definitely a playground of innovation and imagination, and it's always fun to see what new ideas pop up.
What about an exchange or maybe an institution where it's completely managed by AI with no people interaction or partner?
Oh, that would be fascinating. An AI only exchange or institution would run on pure logic and efficiency, optimizing every single transaction and decision. It would definitely minimize human error and probably run 24/7 without a hitch. Plus, it could analyze data at incredible speeds, making split-second decisions that are always data-driven. It's a cool concept and definitely something that could be on the horizon as AI continues to advance.
All right, so we come to the point where we're going to say goodbye. I'd like to thank all the people here on the TikTok, Yellow Flower, John Ribold, Guillermo Oscar. Thank you for watching all the entire time. Brick007, Balloon Design by Rosie, and M Watton85, New York C123. Welcome. Thank you for watching the show. If you like to see the whole show back, you can jump to YouTube, i2AI Crypto. Make sure to subscribe, turn on the notification. Finch, you want to say goodbye, give an appointment next time, of what people need to do?
Absolutely. Thanks everyone for joining us today. It's always a blast hanging out and diving into all things crypto. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, follow us, and stay tuned for the next episode. We can't wait to see you again soon. Until next time, take care and keep exploring the crypto universe.
All right, perfect. Thank you very much, everybody. Ciao. See you next time. Ciao tutti.